I should have known the moment he booked the suite under a fake name that nothing about this was meant to be clean. I told myself it was just a summer escape, a weekend where my phone would be on silent, my conscience buried under hotel sheets. But reputations don't fold that easily. When you mix power, money, and a ring already sitting on someone else's finger, guilt doesn't check out when you do. He was my boss's client, the kind of man who wore summer linen like a weapon. I noticed him first at the rooftop bar downtown, eyes sharper than the rim of his martini glass, smile a little too casual for a married man with his hand resting on his phone the whole night. My friend leaned in, whispering, "Don't even think about it." That should have been my cue. Instead, I found myself staring at the gold band on his finger, curious about the lies it was covering. Later that week, he walked straight into my office with an envelope that smelled faintly of cologne and cash. "For your boss," he said, sliding it across my desk, but his eyes stayed on me. The pause was longer than it needed to be. He wasn't subtle, and I wasn't blind. By Friday, the envelope was gone, but his number was saved in my phone. When he texted, it wasn't small talk. "Meet me at the Four Seasons, suite under Reynolds." I almost laughed. Reynolds wasn't his name. That should have stopped me. Instead, I checked my lipstick in the elevator mirror, heart pounding with the kind of thrill only bad decisions can buy. The suite was dripping in quiet money champagne already chilling, curtains pulled tight against the summer glare. He stood at the window, jacket tossed on the armchair, tie loosened like he owned the whole floor. "You came," he said, like it was inevitable. I told myself this was just business-adjacent fun, a flirtation spun into a weekend. No one had to know. The lie tasted expensive, and I swallowed it whole. The first time his hand brushed mine across the glass table, it was nothing more than static. The second time, when he leaned closer, heat rose through me like sunlight after a storm. His mouth stopped just short of mine, testing if I'd pull back. I didn't. His kiss wasn't tender. It was calculated, a transaction sealed with breath. I felt my body lean into it anyway, even as the wedding band grazed against my cheek. The ring was colder than the champagne. My mind screamed boundaries, but my body leaned into the lie, hungry for more. When he pressed me against the wall, murmuring, "No one needs to know," my guilt shivered but didn't scream loud enough. Morning light never lies. It poured through the curtains, spilling across the sheets that still smelled of him. He was already dressed, phone buzzing with messages he didn't answer. He left a stack of bills on the table, as though I'd asked for them. I hadn't. "Don't look at me like that," he muttered, sliding his watch back on. "What look?" I asked, but my voice was softer than I meant, the kind that makes this complicated. I wanted to say it was already complicated. Instead, I reached for his wrist, tugging him back for one more kiss. His resistance lasted all of half a second. We burned through another hour we didn't have, both of us pretending it was just about the fire and not the lies. When the door finally clicked shut behind him, I lay back against the pillows, tasting both victory and poison. The second night was worse, or better, depending on how you measure shame. He took me to dinner in a restaurant where no one knew us, ordered wine older than me, and looked at me like I was the only woman in the world. Then he leaned across the table, voice low. "You're playing with fire, and you're married." I shot back, meeting his stare. His smile curved dangerously. Exactly. By dessert, my morals had melted like chocolate on the plate. Back in the suite, his touch was sharper, greedier. He kissed me like he was trying to erase something. Maybe her, maybe himself. I didn't ask. I only matched him, heartbeat for heartbeat, knowing every second carved me deeper into his secret. On the third morning, I caught him on the balcony, phone in hand, murmuring into it. "Yes, honey, I'll be home tomorrow." My chest tightened. The word honey wasn't meant for me. When he came back inside, he froze at the sight of my face. For once, the liar didn't have a line ready. "You should go," he said. But instead, I walked straight to him, pressing myself against his chest, daring him to choose. The kiss we shared then was messier, almost angry. His hands gripped like he wanted to hold me and shove me away all at once. That night, passion turned reckless. It was less romance, more escape hatch. I let him lose himself, and maybe I lost myself too. Checkout day came with silence. He didn't reach for my hand in the elevator, didn't look back when the bellhop wheeled our bags. At the curb, he hailed a car. "This was fun," he said, voice flat, like we hadn't burned down a weekend together. I should have been furious. Instead, I laughed. "That's all it was?" He didn't answer, just opened the door and slid inside. The car pulled away, leaving me with the faint echo of his cologne and a hollow victory. Back at my apartment, my phone lit up with texts from friends, invitations to rooftop parties, reminders of normal life. I stared at the screen, thinking of the champagne, the curtains, the ring that flashed when he touched me. It hadn't been love, it had been power, dressed in linen and lies. And yet, when I closed my eyes, I could still taste him, still feel the heat of those walls. The way guilt and desire had tangled until I couldn't tell one from the other. The summer would move on. So would he, but I knew I'd never walk past the Four Seasons again without hearing the echo of his voice. No one needs to know. Would you call it betrayal if both of us already knew it wasn't love?